Hi everyone, my name is Gina. Continuing down the path of talking about the business side of a craft business, in this video I'll be talking about how to price your items. Pricing your items is going to be one of the first things you do as a business, and it's going to be how you generate profit for your business and ultimately income for yourself. So we're going to cover three things in this video. One, how to figure out your wholesale price, so how much you're going to charge other businesses for buying your items. And two, your retail price, so how much you're going to charge the end consumer. And number three, retail price for items that can be sold over and over again. And then we'll wrap it up by talking about how often you should be sanity checking your pricing. Okay, so first you're going to figure out your wholesale price. So again, this is how much you're going to charge other businesses for your items. So let's say you sell knit hats. And you want to sell it to a local bookstore. So this is going to be how much you charge that local bookstore for buying hats from you. And even if you don't want to sell to businesses just yet, this is still going to be very important because you never know what opportunities are going to come your way that you need your wholesale price for. So to calculate your wholesale price, you're first going to start off with the cost of your items. So the cost of your item is literally anything that went into making that item. So along with that knit hat example, your cost of that item is going to be one, materials. So yarn, pom-poms, any hardware you have on it, that goes into materials. Number two is going to be the labor for making that item. So it's going to be the hours it took you to make this thing multiplied by your wage. And the wage here, you can charge any wage you want, really, but you should at least go for minimum wage, because if you were to find another job, you would at least make minimum wage. So that's going to go into labor. And then you're gonna have any other costs that went into making this item. So delivery fees, postage fees, if you were to charge duties on it, all of that is gonna go into the cost of your item. And to get to your wholesale price, you're gonna take the cost of your item and mark it up by 30 to 50%. And you might be thinking, why am I marking this item up by 30 to 50% when I just calculated the cost of this thing? So the reason you want to mark it up by 30 to 50% is because you're going to have, as a business, you're going to incur what's called overhead costs. That's just going to be costs that you incur from running a business. It's going to be your tools that you use to make whatever items you sell. It's going to be marketing costs, website costs, costs for a photographer for your photos. All of that goes into running a business. It's covered by that 30 to 50%. So say it costs you $10 to make these hats, and you want to charge a wholesale markup of 30%. Your item is, when you sell it to other businesses, to this local bookstore, you're going to charge them $13. So that's going to be your wholesale price. Next, you're going to calculate your retail price. This is going to be how much you're going to charge customers for your product. So if I were to buy a knit hat from you, this is how much I would pay for that hat. So you're going to take your cost for the item, so say $10 for this hat, and you're going to multiply by at least 2, so $20. So if I were to buy a hat from you that costs you $10 to make, I would pay $20. And you might be thinking, whoa, like 2 times, that's a lot. It cost me $10 to make and I'm selling it for $20, like 2 times. That's a huge markup. It's really not. In reality, retail businesses do this all the time. They might not tell you, but they do it. So one clothing brand that does tell you about this is Everlane. They do something called transparent pricing, where they tell you how much it costs them to get that item and how much they're charging you for it. And if you compare how much they charge you to how much it costs them, it's more than 2 times for them. And it's more than 2 times for them just because, one, they have a more established brand, and 2, they're going to have a lot more various overhead just as a larger business. So this practice of multiplying your costs times 2 to get to your retail price is something that retail businesses do. So that's going to be your retail price. And if you're a business that sells items that can be sold to multiple people, so for example, if you make wedding invitation templates that people can print and multiple people can print and buy it off you, that's going to be something you can sell over and over again. Or if you make knitting instructions, so knitting patterns that multiple people are going to buy from you, you're going to price that a little differently than just taking your cost, multiplying by 2, and then selling it to somebody at that price. You're going to take the cost of your items. So say I make these wedding invitation templates, cost me $100 to make these, and I'm going to again multiply by 2, but that's going to be your total retail price. It's going to be $200. But if I think 10 people are going to buy this from me, I'm going to charge each of those 10 people $20, because once all those 10 people buy the template from me, I'm going to have my total retail price of $20. So this thing you have to figure out here is how many people are going to buy this from you. And it's a little tough to figure out when you're just starting out because you don't have any previous data points to base this off of. So it's important to do a little bit of research here to reach out to people who also sell something similar to say, hey, what volume did you generate starting out? Or to look at other businesses and what they're charging for similar products, because that'll give you an idea of how many people you expect to sell this to. So that's going to give you your price that you should charge for items that you expect to sell multiple times. So now you know how to calculate your wholesale price, your retail price for single item, your retail price for repeat items. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is how often you should be looking at your prices and sanity checking them. Businesses typically look at their pricing at least on the quarterly. So every 3 months, they look at how much things are costing them, what markup they're getting from that product for the price that they're selling it at. And the reason you want to look at this on the quarterly and you don't want to just calculate it and let it be is because the cost of your items are going to change. Your yarn might be more expensive as they go along. Your pom-poms might be more expensive because your suppliers have increased their prices, and all of that might change throughout the years. So you want to look at it on the quarterly to figure out, okay, based on how much this thing's costing me, am I getting the wholesale markup that I want? Am I getting the retail markup that I want? So that's pricing for you. This topic has a lot of math in it, and it's pretty convoluted because you're multiplying by different things, you're adding, you're dividing at times. So I created a pricing tool that you can download in the description box. And what it does is it has these gray boxes, and all you have to do is plug in your inputs into these gray boxes, and then it'll calculate automatically for you your wholesale price, your retail price for a single item, and your retail price for items that you can sell multiple times. Just to automate this process for you, just to make it a little bit more tangible and easier to understand. So if you have any questions on this topic, feel free to comment in the description box below or message me on Instagram, and I'll be happy to address it. Thanks for watching.